Hi, this is Paula Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. And today I'm joined again by my sister, and also we have Alan Steinfeld of New Realities calling in on the telephone. So, hi, Alan.
Hi, Paula and Hella.
And welcome, Hella, to the show.
Hi.
Hi,
Alan.
nice to be there with you in Berkeley.
Yeah.
So the idea of the show, Alan, was some of the comments that you left on YouTube when you saw the show that Hella and I did about color and art and personal style. And I thought it would be really nice to maybe use, well, you wanted to go into more practical.
Well, I wanted to go into more specifics, how someone at home watching could figure out what type of style, or I know you're not calling them seasons, but they seem to be associated with the seasons. But if you could review the four different, what do they call, style types, and then what's the other? There's two types of way of classifying people, right?
Yeah, it's a system with four general types, and it's okay to refer to the seasons because it gives a good instant visual for people.
Well, then let's start with winter, right? Since it's winter, winter is high contrast, right?
Yeah, let's start with me.
Okay, you're a winter.
I'm a winter type, and what that means is it's a strong contrast in terms of what my natural coloring is: dark hair, very pale skin, and green eyes. And those three elements set up the type of colors that I would put on my exterior that reflects what I'm already about.
And I bet you look good in really red lipstick, don't you?
Yes.
That brings out that
especially to
contrast.
show up on the camera.
Okay.
But so color harmony is what we call that, and nobody's particularly 100% anything. One lady I met had jet black coal hair and white skin and blue eyes. She was 100% a striking contrast.
Is that wait? You call winter a striking contrast? That's the kind of name that you give.
That's what we give, and that intention is so someone again gets an understanding of not just a striking type, but striking contrast gives the image of it's a more visual tool.
Right.
Instead of just saying winter.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Descriptive.
So she was like what, 100% striking
contrast? Yes. Then, so we call that color harmony, but usually you're a combination of things.
Color harmony is the types that you are, like lively, bright, or striking contrast.
Right. We should probably just go through them. Winter into spring being what we call now a lively, bright type. It's colors that are in the colors from winter that are out of the tube. We talked about this last time. Squeezed out of the tube, added with white, makes them lighter and brighter, like the colors we see in spring, the spring flowers.
Like yellows and greens.
And pinks, and we see lots of multiple colors in spring together. And we talk about wearing at least three colors together. And imitating spring, or better than that, imitating what's already in our coloring. Paul is a good example of a spring type. Light hair, fair skin, but there's a little pink tone in it. And
her light hair, though, is not her.
Yeah. However, that's a good question, or what you're going to lead up to.
Yeah.
If you dye your hair within the color value that you've been given, in other words, she added lightness. Her hair was a light brown anyway, so if she went coal black, it would be very jarring and disharmony. We'd have disharmony. You'd be going so extreme, and in some ways, I mean, that's kind of what punk is about. But we will go into that later.
But the other thing that took me a long time to type, and we'll get to that, can wear a color but of a different shade. Like anyone can wear red, but it'd be a type of red or a type of blue, right?
And so that brings me back to if you're adding white in the strong colors out of a tube, if you start adding gold, you start getting warmer colors into fall. And then I accidentally skipped summer would be grayed down colors. So you're starting.
So the spring colors, the lively bright colors, are the white added, really animates the color. I mean, psychedelic in a sense is sort of...
Not psychedelic.
No, not psychedelic. Psychedelic would probably be more striking because those are intense colors. Remember day glow, pink and green, and we had a lot of that in the 70s too.
That's
What was
striking
that?
or Lively Bright?
The artist Peter Max.
That's Lively Bright, right?
That was striking.
Oh, that was striking.
But put in a lively bright context, multiple colors, confetti-like but intense.
I see. Okay, so I think I got what spring or Lively Bright is. It's the white that sort of animates things.
Easter, hillsides, spring flowers, wildflowers. Think of all the multiple colors and shapes and wildflowers.
I see.
And all the different greens that come out in spring.
Right, greens.
And trees and grass and stems of plants. So it's multicolor.
Yeah, Paula looks really good in those bright.
Look at her scarf. That's a perfect example of multicolor.
Right. So
He can't look at my scarf.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'll walk you through it.
Which part?
Oh, we're just saying that we're a little handicapped now because I don't have that little device that can pull up from the computer so you can see what we're doing.
You can edit that in, can't you?
But she's wearing a beautiful spring scarf that emulates what we're talking about. But then I just want to finish, as we go into summer, then things become more grayed down, almost like a fog over the bright colors. It tones it down and blends them. So they're called subtle blended colors.
Subtle blended is summer?
Yeah, because summer starts fading and things become more blended. Monet paintings, Monet's water lilies, very blended.
Oh,
the gray,
I see.
Gray
That's summer subtle blended. I thought that was fall. Oh, okay.
The fall is more is dynamic. The leaves and the changing and the think of Van Gogh.
Well, what kind of coloring would someone have to be a subtle blended?
A really good example is Daryl Hannah. It's a very, or Mia Farrow. There's no contrast between the hair, skin, and eyes.
Oh, I get it.
It's very, very blended.
Not bright, it's not contrasted, it's all blended as a kind of uniformity.
So when you're wearing your clothes, you're looking for a blended quality, no jarring notes, no contrast. And then you go into fall, and that's when the browns come in, the golds, the dynamic, earthy, deep, warm
But can I ask
colors.
you something? Is wearing clothes, if you are a subtle blended, don't you want something that will make you stand out? Would you wear subtle blended? Would your clothes just kind of be...
Well, there's also a psychology behind the different range of colors that one's given, about a range of 200 swatches. And you start with the reds, and those convey a certain color psychology. And then,
well, let's get to that. Just a minute. Okay, we'll finish the fall, so then I get the whole picture, and then we'll go to the color psychology.
So fall is think of the earth and all the leaves changing. There's a dynamic, strong quality in fall colors. It also will tiptoe into personalities that come out of these visual tendencies, also show up in personalities. We say fall types are often very dynamic, hardy people, but we call those earthy rich colors.
So they're rich, like a kind of rich brown
like
earth?
The redwood trees and the changing of the seasons.
Would you say like Santa Fe, Adobe architecture?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And then we're back to winter, where you have a lot of starkness, white snow against dark, bare trees, no leaves, but a black image against white often, black and white contrast, reds, and like holly, and the very deep green leaves.
So
Christmas
those are the
trees.
4 color harmonies.
Yeah, those are the 4
summer.
color harmonies. Then the other piece of the work is color harmony style lines, meaning your bone structure.
Right.
And that's where we talk about the different types, the angelic types, romantic types, natural types, and that's just as important as the colors, as a matter of fact.
Do the what do you call that, style types? Do they correspond to different colors or more different cuts of clothing?
Essence harmonies is what we call them, and it deals with clothing, it deals with jewelry, anything that you put on yourself that has shape.
But it doesn't deal with the colors. The colors are just taken care of with the color harmonies, right?
Well, actually, you're actually very bloodhound-like. There's something very abstract, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
That we often find that facial bone structure does reflect colors, and what I mean by that is, let's take an earthy rich type. If they have a square-shaped face, or rectangular face, that often is a hint when one is doing one's colors that they're earthy rich type, because geometric shapes play out in clothing for earthy rich, like V-necks and anything that has a geometric quality to it, asymmetrical. So for some coincidental reason, we find face shapes, bone structure often does go hand in hand with color.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Like subtle blended and the more angelic type.
And those are oval types, the oval face of an angelic or a strong contrast.
Well, let's go through the four color style essences.
There's more than four. There's more than four.
Oh, there is?
There's angelic, there's youthful, there's romantic. And think of those three on the top tier, meaning in the yin area, the very feminine area. Mm-hmm. And then the mediator, the balance, is a classic type. And that's yin and yang. When we go under classic type, we go to a natural type, a dramatic type, and a high-spirited type. And those tend to have yang or a little like a masculine quality.
Oh, so there are 7 color essences.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
I see. And they correspond to body type and bone type
structure.
And facial shape, mostly.
Yes.
And hair, was it called?
And height. Height, well, that's bones too, really. How tall you are.
I see, like long,
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go through them, or are they too much to go through?
She just went through them.
The angelics, though, are oval, but what distinguishes that from the other higher type?
Okay, so a good example, a direct opposite would be a dramatic type. And they have exaggerated features, very, let's say, an aquiline nose, or a intensity in the eyes too, a quality of expression. And Robert De Niro is a dramatic type, very intense. Al Pacino, Grace Jones, that famous kind of scary model from.
I know where I took a picture of her once.
Yeah, yeah. And extremes in the bone structure for dramatic, and an ovalization and an elongation in the angelics, like Modigliani. Who's the other famous angelic in terms of bone structure?
Oh,
did Goya have a little bit of length in the faces a lot?
Sure,
El Greco. They always thought El Greco had a visual problem because his paintings were always so elongated. But maybe he was just painting angelic types.
Well, so I get it. Actually, the Mona Lisa and some of the pictures of Leonardo da Vinci, his portraits are elongated, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say she's probably classic. She's fairly balanced with a little elongation.
Say one thing, I don't think anybody knows what Alan is right now, so should we tell people?
Well, do you have I think.
Yeah, definitely. And you and Paula doing the shows is a very angelic type of occupation in terms of going, especially the spirituality and the self-development that you aim towards is, I'd like to say otherworldly, but we know it's very much of this world. But
right.
we're trying to, or you guys seem to be trying to bring it to a more active
So there's certain occupations that fit sort of a physiognomy type of analysis. I mean, you don't get angelics driving trucks usually, right?
Very rarely.
Really?
Donald Sutherland just popped into my mind because you wouldn't think of him as angelic, but then when you stop and think, he's very unusual.
But just one second.
In acting.
Alan and I have very different colors, though. I'm springtime bright colors, and he's the subtle blended summer colors. But we both have the same.
But you also have a lot of subtle blended in you.
But Paula's face is much rounder than mine.
Right.
Yeah.
He's more elongated.
Yeah, but.
So she's not a real angelic, is she?
No, you're right. No, she's not dominantly angelic.
Right.
You are.
Right.
But it also does coincide with the colors because she has a good shot of angelic. And so you're not, that's not your dominant. I mean,
So,
excuse me, it's subtle
it's important
blended.
for people to know that everyone is a combination of everything.
That's right. Well, no, not
everybody's
everything.
not a
Oh,
combination.
not everything. Just
No.
there is combinations. Not everyone
Exactly.
is just one.
And John Kitchener, the senior color artist that has been working all these years, he said that it's like a color print. It's as unique as a fingerprint, a color print.
But you do people's colors, right? I mean, that's your thing.
John primarily does the colors. I've been trained to do colors, and I apply the information to clients who don't quite know how to apply it yet, because it is a process.
So you take them shopping then,
I usually start with their existing wardrobe.
and you throw stuff out that doesn't work.
And I add things. I often add things or recombine the clothing that they already have.
You know what's interesting? When they first started to learn the colors, we saw Susan Sarandon, and she dressed totally opposite from what her colors would be, as far as I would know. So she didn't stand out at all. She sort of blended into the wallpaper.
Well, because she was working with a stylist, I would guess, and then well, I wouldn't want to say politically correct, but black is often misunderstood.
But I think she was wearing. I don't think she wanted to make herself noticed, so she, I think, was dressing against her type.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe she needs to look a little, maybe what she was up to, she wasn't ready for the knowledge.
Say, hang on, I don't want something to slide by here that's very important. When you're in California, it's very easy to get the knowledge that if you don't look so great with black near your face, to avoid it. But I find in New York, black is just so, what would you say, Alan?
It's urban camouflage, they call it.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk about black.
Well, we have a lot of favoritism towards black in San Francisco too. It's a more conservative city. New York, of course, isn't conservative, but the big cities, we find, the urban cities, all wear black, San Francisco included. And to a certain amount, Berkeley. But a friend of mine, an 82-year-old friend who was visiting from Orange County, although she lived in Berkeley a long time, when you have somebody visiting and hasn't been here for a while and they have such a fresh eye, and we were driving around the university campus, and I'm bringing this up for a reason because it's a younger generation, the students, and they were all in neutrals. She described it as black or white, but when you stopped and analyzed it, it'd be dark blue jeans and a cream shirt, or a navy shirt, or a black, all neutrals. So there is a lot of fear to wearing color right now. Now, some of it's considered, neutral is more sophisticated. And you know in your work that you can't always describe what's the next best thing and why, or big thing in a culture. In other words, the 70s had such bright colors, and the 60s, but 80s and certainly 90s, and we're still in that direction of neutrals, is being favored.
Well, let's also talk about color psychology, what reds and blues and greens suggest. Do you want to do that?
Sure, and on that note, I often tell people we recommend wearing color near the portrait area or the face, because that brings out the aliveness in the person. And then the way you combine it with your neutrals is the tricky part, not creating, say, contrast. If Susan Sarandon wore a black sweater and a white shirt, yeah, or even brown just washed out, but she didn't have enough color energy near her, which goes into the psychology of the colors. If you're wearing colors that are chosen for your, what we'd call the powerful colors or the dramatics, it highlights your hair, skin, and eyes in a way that's contrast or the opposite for you, and it puts you on Broadway, so to speak. You'd wear those colors to speak in front of large groups. It would give you assertiveness, confidence, automatically. You almost don't have to say
everybody or just me?
Everybody has powerful colors. So
the powerful colors are what you said, red?
No. Reds are a whole different category. Reds are what create the basis. When a color artist, when I'm sitting down doing your colors, I will start with the reds, because that tells me what direction the rest of your colors are going to go into. That's sort of the trade secret, although I don't believe there are any secrets.
So reds then are
that's
what
based
they
on your skin
symbolize,
tone, and what they symbolize, the psychology, is the highest area of feminism in a woman, feminine quality, and the highest expression of masculinity. The founder of personal style counselors from the 1970s that created this work, or at least carried it into different terms and things that people could understand. The color concept has been around since the 40s, but it was Joan Songer that created a form. Yeah, it's fascinating, the history of this. But Joan put it in a more workable language, so we could all know what we're talking about. And I'm trying to continue with the language and update it in a way that's quick.
It's important, and I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah, because it can be very confusing, the colors and the
well, it's very sophisticated. With a lot going on.
It really is. So Joan used to say, I lost my thread on that. We were talking about the reds. She used to say every man should have a red ski sweater.
Really?
And
Why?
so you get the image of, because it's vital, it's masculine, flying down the hillside. Red are great sports colors, or when you're feeling tired, to put a red on and go take a walk, or put a red on and go out on a date. It's a color, it's very important to understand. It's a color.
Depends on who you're going on the date.
Right, well, that's what I was going to say, though. In politics, you notice there's a lot of red ties on TV. Red also, the eye gets tired of red. But that's a different subject.
Well, what's that have to do with why with politicians?
Well, I think because red, white, and blue. And then I think red probably looks good on camera. I'm going to be learning more about that.
Painting, your eye immediately goes to the red first.
Yes, yeah.
No. Scott Goldberg doesn't let me wear any red because he said that it bleeds when you're trying to do a really crisp documentary. I like to wear red, but
I have to get this knowledge out. This is the most important thing: is you be careful when you wear your reds. If you want to be taken seriously in business, you don't want to wear a red because a person is getting distracted with other thoughts. So unless you're going on an interview, if you're a matchmaker or something and you want to emulate sexuality, femininity, vigor. So it's a powerful color, but it has to be worn in the correct situation.
It's just interesting who decides or what in us decides.
We decide,
but
we don't.
Where's the kind of innate,
let's look at history. Lady with the red dress on.
Yeah, where does that come
the culture
from?
decides.
It must come from some organic human development because it's throughout all cultures.
Well, sure. Don't the Chinese, when they get married, Asians wear red?
Yes.
And it's.
Well,
see, I'd like
blood,
to.
It's the color of blood.
Yeah, but it's also
a color
passion.
of blood, but sacrifice is something so difficult to understand.
But it's also the lowest lights in the light spectrum. It's like where, it's on the lowest level of the light wave frequencies. I don't know. It might be something.
Oh, you mean infrared as opposed to ultraviolet?
Right. Red, though, is the lowest part of the rainbow. It's the lowest in the light spectrum of frequency.
That's true. But something, Alan, I've been thinking lately about this higher and lower and which chakras are the high and which are the low. You always think of the base chakras as the lower ones and the more exalted as higher. But in another way, when the soul comes into manifestation for an experience, so that it can gather that experience, it needs to go into density. So I think all of the spectrum needs to be honored.
Well, the reds are taken, remember, from the skin tone, and what skin tone? It's the blood in your body, and how much of the red comes through in your skin.
I see. So should we move on from red to what?
Oh, and then we go into the dramatics, the powerful colors I talked about earlier. Those are the absolute pinnacle of colors, and the on-Broadway colors, I call them.
Like which ones?
Everybody has different dramatics. My dramatics are yellow, and that's because it gets a little bit technical, but there's an opposite with the green in my eyes. It creates a pleasing contrast, and there's teal greens for. Well, I can't generalize until I see the person.
What's Paula there?
No, yours aren't purple. Yours are blue.
Oh, blue. That's right, blue.
So contrast to her pinks,
everybody has powerful colors, but they're not all the same.
Well, what would my powerful color be?
Well, where's your book, Alan?
I need my color book.
Okay, we'll have to do another show with your color book.
The details of that don't really matter at this moment, but the general psychology, then they go, the color is less color energy, it becomes what we call elegant or sophisticated colors. And then we go all the way down into neutrals and then conservative, meaning colors that are best worn is coats and jackets, and those are our basics that we add color to.
And what colors would those be?
For some people, it would be browns and green grays and olives. For me, it would be black, chocolate browns. And so, again, there's variation. Redheads probably have the largest selection of colors because they have so much color in their hair and their combination. But
they can't wear red, though, because it's...
Everybody can wear red, but it's the kind of red. How blue red, how yellow red, how orange red. There's thousands and thousands of color combinations, and people are so genuinely innocent about that. In other words, they'll say, well, I can't wear blue. But, you know, as well as I do, and you're an artist, there's thousands of blues.
Right, so everyone can wear everything. It's a type of blue. Like, you told me that I should wear blue that's the color of my eyes for some reason.
That's another,
that's a
thank
good
you.
point,
My
yeah.
favorite area of the color work is the eye colors, or what John Kitcher calls the calm page. Eye colors are very, very powerful in their subtlety. They reflect your eyes. You don't wear the exact color of your eyes. You wear a slightly grayed down color that brings your eyes out. And what the psychology of that is, when you wear your eye color, it conveys trust and centeredness and gentleness.
And refinement.
Right, you told me that no one can refuse you if you wear your eye colors.
That's correct.
That is such a good thing to know.
Yeah, and you know, it's really interesting. What I get so excited about the eye colors is you have the results, the wearer, and so does the viewer. So it's a win-win situation. If you have to fire somebody, it's great to wear an eye color, or if you're being deposed by an attorney.
Or assassinated.
You know, well, you could have a red for that.
Maybe they might
dramatic.
think twice, if you're wearing your eye color.
Yeah. Oh,
don't kill me.
I do trust her after all. There is kindness. But I've experienced the power of eye colors over and over again. When I often wear them when I consult, because people are nervous when I come to their house.
Throw out all their nice
Well, they
clothes.
feel they're going to be shamed. And I don't get rid of that many clothes. I think if you really know what you're doing, a lot of people have things at work, they don't know how to put them together often.
Right. So you perform a very vital function for people, going and explaining to them in a kind way why they want to wear the colors that is best for them.
Yeah, the article in the Monthly was that a woman described me as a visual therapist, gentle, humorous, and I like to say firm. Okay.
Say, Alan, I'm sorry, we're going to have to wrap it up because we're getting to the end of a show. This is Paula Gloria, and this has been an excursion down the fashion rabbit hole. And we've been joined by Alan Steinfeld, and he's the creator of newrealities.com. And how's that going, Alan?
Oh, that's going very well. We're organizing stuff on a really major level. We're taking over New York City.
That's great. So we'll have Hella back on again. Thanks.
Hella, good to talk to you.
Thank you,
why don't you
Alan.
come to New York? We'll bring you into the studio and do a real...
Oh, I would love it. I would love it. And can you hold this up to the camera? Try on everything means stay open to all possibilities. I found this cute little figurine that is a very non-threatening but happy approach to staying open with this work.
She's got a little pig looking in a mirror, says try on everything.
A little friend is saying try on anything. That's me in the stripes.
Right.
Okay.
Contrast.
So we'll get this
Alan.
last part with Alan
Thanks.
on YouTube. Bye.
Happy New Year.
See you guys.
Okay.
That's good. What do you think?
I thought it was good. There's so much to say.
Yeah, right.